Dave, I have to pick you up on something there. You're talking about Frank Bruno. I don't know whether you know, but Frank Bruno actually recorded a cover of Survivor's Eye of the Tiger. And it was very good. It was very, very good indeed. For some strange reason, this thing's not recording. I need somebody to come up and tell me why it's not recording. There's the lady in question. She's disappeared. We will be back to normal service in a moment. Meantime, I'll sing you a song. No, maybe not. Brilliant, we're off, we're working. Right, now let me introduce Caroline Jenkins, John's daughter. She'd like to pay tribute to her dad. Caroline Jenkins.
It would be true to say that my dad was a very busy man. Rarely still for long. If he wasn't at one meeting at one end of the dale, he was at a meeting at the other. He was always taking a phone call, constructing an email, penning a sharply worded letter, or helping somebody with a planning application somewhere. Behind the scenes, he gave phenomenal passion, graft, determination, and a purely dedicated work ethic to make sure he fought for his beloved local people. It was no wonder at times when he got home, he sat down and would fall asleep in mid-conversation. A typical morning would begin around 6 a.m. One alarm would incrementally get louder, soon to be joined by another one in tandem. Then BBC Breakfast would be switched on the TV, throwing the sound of a telephone ringing, and to complement this treat on the ears, we would hear the abundant thrashing of the keys on his laptop. I guess this was no ordinary morning for some, but it was a completely normal morning for us. It was at 5:36 a.m. on Saturday the 30th of July. That my dad lost the battle he had tried so hard to fight for so long. It's been 86 days since his car last screeched up the drive, since he fed his beloved birds in the garden, since he banged up the stairs, since he had a TV on in every single room, since he smashed the hell out of the keys on his laptop, or since he lit Hardra up like a Christmas tree with every light on in every room. And it's all just too quiet, and that is harder on the ears than anything. So to fill this hideous void, we can only think of all the funny things to remember to keep his memory alive. Some of you may not know, but Dad had a wicked sense of humour. He would attempt to tell a funny story, but he laughed so much he would rarely get to the end of it. He generally was the oracle. He knew every answer to every question. He loved buses. He lived and dreamed them. He had bus books everywhere, and now his dream was alive. He had many favourite sayings, many of which we find ourselves saying today. The standard quote, "I didn't get where I am today." The frequently used quote, "Sorry, I'll buy you another one." Or the classic quote, "Why have a dog and bark yourself?" He did have an eclectic taste in music. He liked Rod Stewart, Motown, Dusty Springfield, Dire Straits, Bob Dylan, The Beatles, Ed Sheeran, and Take That. He loved a proper cup of coffee, a tomato juice with Worcester sauce, a lovely made G&T. He adored an Irish coffee, vanilla ice cream, cheese on bread and butter, and a glass of Coke with ice and lemon. He loved fish and chips, a walk on the beach, a good suntan, and a swim in the sea. He loved a brisk walk, fresh air, family trips out, often taking us all out on a little white bus. He loved a good shopping spree, but most of all, he loved to sit down at the end of the day, switch on the TV and watch the news. Question time, followed by more news. With lots of memories to share today, this one will always stick in my mind. It was a bit like today with the weather, and it was flooded really badly. I was bringing up Phoebe, who was 3 at the time, and I couldn't get into town. I rang him to let him know where I was, and in 5 minutes he got in the car. I saw him drive over the hill, where he parked on the other side of the floodwater. In his shirt, suit and leather shoes, he got out, assessed the situation, pulled up his trousers and walked through the whole flood onto his thighs. We waited a while, he got in my car and he brought it through for me. Pretty legendary really. He didn't really think it through, he just did it. I think he'll also go down in history at Withenshaw ICU, where he was at Christmas, for being the only patient ever to have sent an email from the hospital bed. You really couldn't stop him. Over the years of Dad being in hospital, he described himself as a mystery shopper for the NHS. He received the most wonderful care from all the amazing doctors and nurses for years, and for that he was always so terribly grateful, as were we, and we can't thank them enough. He would generally be humbled by everybody being here today and all the support we've been given, cards, flowers and messages. He loved the work that he did so passionately. He never moaned, he never complained, he just always cracked on, even when he didn't feel well. He was a true fighting spirit, and I'm sure he will be doing the same up there as he did down here.